Lesson 4.6. For our lesson today, we're going to begin by looking at how to solve exponential equations. This is what all of our previous lessons in this chapter have been leading up to, being able to solve equations using what we now know about exponential functions and about logarithmic functions. So in this lesson, I'm going to show you one method for solving an exponential equation. In class, we're going to take a look at another method, and between the two, you should always find one that works. So the method that we're talking about today is called equating exponents. And so if you have an equation that looks like this, where we have 4 to the 3x power equals 8 to the x plus 1 power. When you have an equation that has variables in the exponents, our goal is to try to solve for those variables, but since they are up in the exponents, it makes them difficult to sort of get at. So that's always our goal, is how do we get at those variables? Well, in this case, one of the first things you can always ask yourself is, in this particular situation, can I rewrite the bases so that they have the same base? So can I take the bases that are here right now, which are the 4 and the 8, and can I rewrite them somehow so that they would have the same base? And I think you could see that yes, you can. The 4 can be written as 2 squared. And the 8 can be rewritten as 2 cubed. Okay, so now if I use my properties, I'm sorry, I'll rewrite these because I lost it. 2 squared was here and 2 cubed was here. Okay, so now I can use exponent properties to simplify this. And the exponent property I'll be using is a power of a power, which means I can multiply my powers together. So in this case, in my first case where I have 2 squared to the 3x power, I'm going to multiply the 2 times the 3x to get 2 to the 6x power. On the right side, I have 2 cubed taken to the x plus 1. So again, I'm going to multiply my exponents, but I need to make sure that when I do that, I distribute the 3 to the x plus 1. So now my equation states that 2 to the 6x power has to be equal to 2 to the 3x plus 3 power. Well, I hope now that in looking at this, you realize that the only way these two sides are going to be equal to each other, this side and this side, is if my exponents end up equal to each other. Because the fact that I already have the same base means that that part's not going to change. And in order to end up with the same amount on both sides, that base has to be basically taken to the same exponent. So I can now simply write the 6x must have to be equal to the 3x plus 3 in order to get this entire side to equal this entire side. So now it's just a matter of solving a linear. I subtract the 3x from both sides, so I end up with 3x equal to 3, and then divide both sides by 3 to get x equal to 1. So this is what we mean by equating exponents. The goal here is to try to rewrite the bases that you have into bases that are the same. So the 4 and the 8 became a 2 squared and a 2 cubed. And then once you have the same bases, you can set those exponents equal to each other. Now, as always, it's a good idea to check our answer. So we got x equal to 1. Let's put that back in and see if that really works. So on the left side, we're going to have 4 to the 3 times 1 power. Whoops. And on the right side, we're going to have 8 to the 1 plus 1 power. So 3 times 1 is going to be 3, so that's 4 cubed. And 1 plus 1 is going to be 2, so that's 8 squared. Well, 4 times 4 is 16, times another 4 gives me 64. And 8 squared also gives me 64. So indeed, x equals 1 does check out, and it is the solution to our equation. So this is one way that you can solve equations where your variable is up in the exponent. Look at those bases, see if you can rewrite the bases using the same base, and then set your exponents equal to each other. Now, as you can imagine, that doesn't always work. And so we'll see in class tomorrow another method for solving these exponential equations when we're not able to equate exponents. But when this does work, it's a nice, simple method to use, so we always want to be looking for it. So next class, we'll talk about the second method, and then you can use these methods in your homework. We'll see you next class.